get started in just a couple more minutes, waiting on one more speaker. welcome. Tears are power. Grief is what we're feeling right now. Welcome. Thank you for coming out. My name is DUSK. I use they, them pronouns. And I'm the current executive director at Links Hall.
And I'm the Artist Programs Manager and Associate Curator.
And a huge pillar in the dance community in Chicago. An incredible leader and really a fundamental catalyst for facilitating access to this place for Black and brown folks, especially folks who live on the South Side. It's huge what Aaliyah has done. She deserves all the flowers.
Thank y'all so much for being here. We really appreciate the way everybody's been showing up for us in the last 7 months or so since we dropped the Lifeline for Links campaign. So much is at stake in this world right now, including and especially for artists. And my journey at Links Hall started in 2013 when I was a freshman in college. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what we were doing here. I just, some woman asked at a workshop, can some college students help us with the thing? And I said, sure. And I was a commissioned artist in 2018, and it just kept going, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't even supposed to be here this long, somebody asked. They were like, hey, the whole staff just turned over. Can you help us for a few months? And I said, sure, for a few months, that's fine. And then 6 years happened. So, Links Hall has been my home, my artistic home. I live on the South Side, but this place just kept pulling me back. I kept trying to find some type of something that felt like Links Hall down there, and it really doesn't exist. And that fucking sucks because we deserve it down there just as much as everybody else. So, I don't know if there's much else to say for real. I'm gonna miss it, you know what I'm saying? This job is hard, it's heartbreaking, it's strenuous, it's vigorous, it's exciting, it's heartwarming, it's nostalgic, and I've really enjoyed stewarding this place and collaborating with artists to do what they want to do, and we make sure that artists can do whatever they want to do, and that place needs to remain, you know what I'm saying? It's Links Hall is what it is, but I think Links Hall lives in every single artist that has touched these floors, every single technician that has worked the rig. Shout out to Yao. And every single person that has held an administrative role since 1978, like, arts admin is a doozy. You don't go to college for arts admin. I think SAIC has a program for it, but be honest, you can't really train for this job. You have to be a people person, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's awkward. Sometimes you don't feel like talking to people, but you still gotta do it. And I just appreciate everybody who's emailed me, everybody who's received an email from me, everybody who is like coming to the office to say hi or just texting me like, yo, I haven't heard from you in a few days, what the fuck's going on? Sorry, there are children here. Yeah. But I just No, I shouldn't do that.
Can I
Yep.
hop in?
Hop in, SK.
Look at me hop. Okay, Aaliyah, everyone. Okay. Great. I just want to situate us in this moment, just in today, that we decided to do this big closing event because there was a need and we wanted to do it. And it really felt like the only way to really honor the impact of this place and how many artists have come through. So we had a marathon of performances today. We put an open call out. All these artists were like, am I going to get a chance to perform? And so we wanted to make that opportunity. We put an open call out and got almost 60 applications. So we started at 9:40 this morning with like 6 people in the audience, and it was so beautiful. I can't even tell you. And here we are now, like mid to late day in our closing ceremony, kind of the moment of the day for words. And then after this, we'll have a break. There'll be a taco truck outside. Can you imagine? And then, I'm so excited. And the bar will be open, and it'll be sort of like time to chill and connect. And then we'll have our commission show. After the commission show, the performance marathon is going to continue. And then we'll have a dance party. And I know, it's exciting. And we're in the sunset portion of the day, and we're going to hear from some folks. First, we're going to, this is our welcome. We're just going to go with the flow. We're going to hear from the founders, then we're going to hear from Maida McNeil, then Doreen Seig, then Yao Trong, then we'll have a little ritual moment. Then I'm going to speak, then Brian Sainer. We have videos from Ayako Kato and Jason Howard, and then Sherilyn Bruce is going to close us out. That's what we're doing here today, just to give you a sense of the order and to situate. It's hot in here. Anytime you need to take care of yourself, please do that. Go to the bathroom, get water, whatever you need. And with that, I'm actually gonna, I'm so sorry. This order says Carl Bobrow. I'm so sorry, Aaliyah. Let me invite Carol Bobrow to the stage for initial words. As Lynx gets me every time. Such a trickster. So the three founders we have are Carol Bobrow, Bob Eisen, and then Elliot Vernon, who's the late Charlie Vernon's son, is going to speak as well. So please join me in welcoming Carol Bobrow.
Organizers, writers who've supported dance and carried us this far. And I know it has not been easy, and SK and Aaliyah have been so inclusive of so many. I'm grateful. I was a co-founder, but actually more than that, I feel I was on the receiving end of that love and support that was given people. And I don't really know who I would have been or what I would have done without that. In the grassroots years when we were starting, I feel like that was unique, what Lynx was able to offer people. But we grew out of Bob and Charlie and I a really fertile, encouraging environment. And I would like to say the names of many people who helped us get here, who may or may not have been a part of Lynx, performed at Lynx, but first and foremost, I know we wouldn't be here today. I'm not sure where you are, but without Bob Eisen. For so many, many years, way beyond the beginning, your devotion to this place and what it could be, and always trying to bring people in. We wouldn't be here without you, Bob. before Bob and Charlie and I, Lynx Hall was rented by a young dancer named Jim Self, who later moved on to become a part of the Cunningham Company. He was in Shirley Mordine's first company, and when that ended, he rented Lynx by himself, did his thing during the day with movement, and in the evening he offered these beautiful Cunningham-esque classes. And the class participants were me, Gary Riggenborn, a beautiful dancer, also in Shirley's, and then someone whose name I don't remember. There were three of us. But what I saw with Jim Self, what inspired me, one was the beauty of that gritty space. That was our first Lynx Hall, which Bob probably took a thing of paint off with his incessant sweeping. And then also, Jim is and was such a beautiful dancer, and what I saw was like the elegant eloquence of a body simply moving in space. And I think I fell in love with that space on those evenings. And then I know she'll get a lot of recognition this year, but I want to say the name of the giant of our community, Shirley Mordine. She was an absolutely brilliant woman and artist, and I think there are few choreographers anywhere in the country who had her intellectual depth, her curiosity, and her passion. And Shirley has a thumbprint on the soul of so many dancers who came out of Chicago, me being one of them. And then another pillar of mother of dance in Chicago was Nina Scheinflug. Nana loved and taught and encouraged generations, plural, of dancers in Chicago. And anyone who knew her felt that, and she helped you get where you got. And then I would like to thank the contact improvisation community. They started in our early years, they're still going. The musician Michael Zerang. And then this little community had sort of an outsized impact, I think, because there were a couple of mainstream writers who took us seriously and wrote about us. Ann Barzell in Dance Magazine, she came to so many performances and wrote about them. Richard Christensen, who didn't always like what he saw, but he always took it seriously and wrote about it and praised you or criticized you. But without him, we wouldn't have brought in the audiences that we did. And neither of those people are around. They're a lot older than I am. So I thank them both. And then, with your words, Aaliyah, Urban Gateways is an organization that still is in the schools. They had a huge impact on bringing the north side of Chicago and the south side of Chicago together, and black dancers, white dancers, Latino dancers. They help support our community by hiring dancers to go into the schools, perform, teach. But if you wanted to perform for Urban Gateways, you had to have a racially mixed performance group. And we all kind of knew each other, but not intimately. So we got to know each other intimately. And lifelong friendships and collaborations came out of that. And a musician that I would like to mention who became my lifelong friend by working together in Urban Gateways is John C. Holt. John still has a thriving musical career. His versatility, his multi-talentedness was a huge addition to our community, and I think I know John C. has performed and accompanied more dance classes and more concerts than I think any other musician could have in our city. And then I would like to mention just a few of the marvelous dancers. There's way too many of them, and many of you are here now. But the ones from my generation, I would like to thank the dynamic, ever generous Sharon Thacker, who is somewhere here tonight. Lori Go is now, I think, in you know who he is, and if you have, whatever you've heard, he was a lot more than that. Puni was as strong and clear as a quartz crystal. His stellar dancing, aided by the fact that he was close to 7 feet tall, but his stellar dancing and the imagery that he created and put on our stages was jaw-dropping, stunning, and absolutely unforgettable, and Puni should never be forgotten. Lastly, I'd like to thank the staff of Links Hall, present and past. SK, your openness, like what you and Aaliyah have done, and I mean, she didn't even know when I was going to arrive. She's like, well, we'll work with it, you know. You know, it's just remarkable what you have all accomplished. And Stephanie, Roel, Yao, Mario, and Dana, thank you all for nurturing this special place and creating a home for the dance community. Thank you for keeping alive the human expression of what it is to be alive in a body, in space, in motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Oh, we're back to this. All right. Thanks, Carol, so much. Now we're going to hear from Elliot Vernon, who is Charlie Vernon's son. And Charlie Vernon was a co-founder of Links once upon a time.
Just want to thank you guys for ruining my opening joke. Come up here and say I'm Charlie Vernon, and obviously I graduated in 71. I am Charlie Vernon's middle son, and he passed in late December 2019. And so SK thoughtfully invited me to speak on behalf of him and my family today. So, children are kind of self-centered. Hear me out. So you're but better put, I think it's hard for children to see their parents as anyone other than their parents. I knew that my dad was creative, but and a performer, not like other dads. For example, he used to take my two brothers to hockey rehearsal and remind them to bring their costumes. Watching me play tennis, he didn't do the normal, that was a great shot, or you put forth really great effort. He used to talk about, it's really beautiful the way you put arc on the ball. So I joined the board earlier this year, and it just feels a little full circle. Even just being up here just now, it's like completing all this history and filling in blanks and giving me so much richness that filling me in on what he did and what you all have done and continue to do. And it's been a real rediscovery of my father for me. That's been really touching. And my example is last month I attended Freedom From and Freedom To, and yeah, so cool. And the curator, I don't know if Crystal's here, but she at the end was giving a speech and just threw in a little, I don't know if anyone remembers Charlie Vernon, and in true cinematic, dramatic fashion, I raised my hands like, I'm his son! And you could see just like so much emotion and just like excitement, and we connected after and talked about his effect on dance community and performance and how much he did through his time at Columbia teaching Urban Gateways and Links Hall. So yes, it's reconnected me with my father's uncanny ability to find and foster beauty, and made me appreciate the ripple effect that it can have. My mother couldn't be here today. She's out of town, and so she also gave me some words to read, but forgive me. This is her voice, not mine. I remember Bob, Carol, and Charlie painting that original Lynx Hall space with a lot of laughter and beer right after they rented it. Somehow, this quite plain room got transformed into a place of creativity, much of it quirky and groundbreaking. Instead of battling its limitations, most performances incorporated the L running by the windows and used the closet opposite as wings and places for mysterious and hilarious exits and entrances. Lynx has always been about the power of performance and its ability to transport the audience. For its 15th anniversary in 1994, Charlie created and performed an amazing piece that was about his life, the transition to selling real estate and being a father, and his ongoing passion for creating art. Our youngest son, my brother, was just 4. Sitting on the cushions only 10 feet from Charlie, he turned to me with shining eyes and asked with wonder and genuine uncertainty, "Is that my dad?" He was caught in a world of illusion and magic, just as many of you and thousands more have been over the last 47 years. Thanks for the gifts, Lynx, and may your spirit live on.
All right, I'd like to invite Bob Eisen, the third of the triad, the trifecta, to come and speak. What was that? And I'm going to try to get this mic higher.
DUSK. I'm sort of doing double duty today, dancing and talking. I'd rather dance, but here I am talking, and someone told me they didn't tell me, I heard someone say a long time ago, everyone wants to be part of a birth and a death. And this sort of makes sense. You want to be in the beginning, then there's the whole thing where you just take it for granted, and then at the end, it's a big deal. And I happen to be there at the beginning, and everybody got this today, which I think is great. I mean, we had this little flyer. This was a flyer, December 16th. And I looked up when, Saturday, December 16th, I looked up when it was 1978. And we had what was called a rent party, and it was announcing that we had this space and you could rent it, you could use it, and that was the beginning. But we're not here to talk about the beginning. We're here to talk about the end. That's happening. In 2 days, this place won't exist anymore. You know, we don't like this. I don't like standing up here and talking about that. But, you know, at some level we can be thankful that we can gather here together and we can be present for this moment. If you think that we are blessed that way and we are fortunate. We don't have to worry about ICE agents coming in and dragging people out of here and putting them in fucking detention centers. And you think about all the places in the world where this just wouldn't happen. So we are blessed to be able to be here. But yes, it is sad. But, you know, I've always thought that at heart, Lynx Hall was a place to gather, a gathering place, and people could come together. The art, to me, in some ways, was a sideshow. It's just, it's the coming together, and if you saw something here in this space and you were a little bit touched at some level and were a little happier to be a human being, you know, this is good. if you take that out into the world with your family or your friends or whoever, you get on the 49 bus and you're a little more pleasant. All this is good. It's not earth-shattering. What happened here isn't going to change the world, but it's important nonetheless. So, and I am, you know, what can I say too? How many places could I go and people stand up and applaud? I'm sorry. Someone like me means a lot. So, you know, I would like to give thanks to SK and Aaliyah. I thought they organized a really beautiful day. So,
Thank you, Bob. Now I'm going to bring up the lovely Maiden Camille.
Hey everybody. Good to be in community. This is family. It's a hard moment, but beautiful nonetheless, to acknowledge and to have this ritual. So thank you both. I'm gonna read because that's how I couldn't gather my thoughts any other way. So. What is this place meant to me, Links? I have to start by thinking of it through my relationship to this place and its people. In the early 2000s, I brought my MFA thesis from Ohio State University before I moved back to Chicago here at the old Links. I did the To Art and Profit Festival with one of my bestest friends, Abra Johnson. Honey Pot Performance developed the first of several of our works about house music, house heads. We developed a speculative fiction performance tale for young black women called Masking Her. Roel gave us the gift of a year of development space for a project, Ways of Knowing, where we just got to, we didn't know what the work was gonna be, and we had the gift of time to just come in here and be together and figure it out. I got to be part of Thaw a number of years. I discovered a new level of my own solo practice as a commissions fellow with Fifth City Revisited. And I've had the immense pleasure to be a commissions mentor the past couple of years. To me, Links is about the development of artists, organizations, ways of co-creating and collaborating. As you said it, Bob, ways of being together and seeing each other, ways of supporting independent and experimental performance, ways of asking questions, trying new things, risking and iterating. Opportunities to focus on the idea, the curiosity, the practice, refinement through experimentation. Creation of community, affirmation of community, rethinking institutional practice. I love that we got to see Links be brave in its history, asking hard questions about its own practices of equity and inclusion. Who's heard, who's seen, who's missing? And how could the organization address these gaps, diversify, bring more voices in, address its own biases, and grow? And Links did that, and grew and changed from it, and felt the challenge of making important decisions. Links has had an incredible history, played a significant role in my life's practice, my collaborators' practice, and for so many of us, and it will continue to serve as a reference and a guide for the work I continue to make with Honey Pot as a solo artist, and for the ways I will try to serve and support artistic community in my other roles and capacities. And I hope it will do that for all of us. What's next is the charge for all of us to continue to find ways to support live performance, experimental performance, new performance forms, to show up, to keep creating, and to support each other, co-create together. Even if it's in different parts of the city, it should be in different parts of the city. And this, I pray and hope, will happen. It is a charge to make and build and see performance because we need it. We need the space with each other, we need to witness, and we need to smell sweat and be in proximity and experience. It's good for us as humans. It makes us better to make it and to see it and to think about it. So I hope that's what we all do. And I hope we will all do our best to continue to hold this city, this state, this country accountable to its commitment to supporting arts and culture, live arts, the development of artists and organizations, because we need that too. And the art that Links has nurtured and stewarded is a precious part of our quality of life. It is part of that fabric. It is not an and over there. It is central, and we should protect and fight for it. So thank you, Links. Thank you, Links community. Thank you, Chicago performance and artistic community. Let's keep going, even as we lovingly say goodbye to this place and space as a brick and mortar, because it's just way more than that. So.
All right, y'all. I'm just going to take a breath on that one. All right. Next, I'd love to invite up the person who was president of the board when I stepped in and was a huge support for me and was a huge support for Links for many years. Please welcome Doreen Seig.
I'm Doreen Seig, and it's been my privilege, challenge, and joy to have been on the board of Links Hall for 8 years. In 2018, for Links Hall's 40th anniversary, Links put out an essay series as one of the 5 million things it did that year. I cringe a little reading mine now, but there are a few things I wrote that I would love to draw from and share with you. With a little bit of editing because it's my speech and I can. Can we imagine what people can be together? When you enter into a performance space, the rules change. You've opted into someone else's vision of the world. Someone else has decided how close you are to the person next to you, what you will see and not see, if you'll be invited to speak, if you're allowed to eat. You have an opportunity to safely explore and push the boundaries of your role in that world for the next 90 minutes or so. The gift of Links Hall is the additional proposal that the structure supporting this world is equally as important, that structure is continuously evaluated and improved upon to keep up with the artist's growth and the city's evolution. Links asks the questions: what would the artist, city, region, art form gain by creating this, changing this? Is this harmful? Is this necessary? What is our responsibility? For 47 years, Links Hall has created space to endlessly explore, experiment, risk, and practice values. It has been electric, radical, thunderous, and also gentle, warm, and inviting. Links is the practice of a better society, of a better relating and supporting one another, a better way of relating and supporting one another. It all contributes to setting you up to experience anything. Links is a place where you can see work from perspectives you disagree with, or even which make you uncomfortable, but you feel safe in the experience, a sort of love, kindness, and excitement for the unfamiliar. We can show up as we are and know that it is not just enough, but that it is everything. Through this practice, through this love, through this art, Links Hall has taught me, and I know us, about how we can exist differently in the world. While this structure is sunsetting, and I can share many, many feelings about it, what I know and will keep holding on to is that the practice of Links will continue in all of us here today and in the many, many people who have been a part of it. Thank you.
I am going to bring one of my favorite people up here now. Put a big round of applause together for Yao Strong.
Hello everyone, my name is Yao Trong, and usually I'm behind the scenes, so I'm not very always in front, but I want to say Links Hall has been 1/5 of my life, which is a very, I'm turning 50 next year, so I'm 49 this year, and 1/5 of my life, Links Hall saw 3 of my children be born and grow up here. And also, Links Hall also gave me who I am now. They gave me the ability to be able to dream, create a world with artists, and be able to innovate and just do things, give me the energy that I need to live. I also Links Hall was also here for me when my mother died, when my father died, my aunt died, when Ian Ashford was shot in the street in front of me. Links Hall has, when I look back at my 1/5 of my life here, I didn't realize that my first lighting design gig actually was at the old Links Hall as well too, and I didn't connect that until later on in life. And I just knew that I had a purpose to be here, and to also just give as much as I can of myself to the artists who are also giving themselves. I once was diagnosed with depression, and they put me on medication for a while. But the medication worked for the first day, but after the second, third day, I just couldn't understand how a pill could make me happy or make me feel comfortable in my life. And so it sort of drove me a little bit mad for a second. And I came up with a theory that energy, since energy is never lost, energy transforms. And I believe that we all start off as that one small spark. And that one small spark gains a memory, and it transforms and transforms until it becomes a plant, an animal, an insect, and an us. And we continue transforming, and we will always continue transforming and never be lost. that was what gave me hope and was able to sort of not take my medication anymore and be able to create and be who I am as well too. And I thank you all for being here, and I thank you all for transforming with us. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Now is the moment in the agenda for a ritual. We're all already in ritual right now. It's already happening. It's today. It was before. It was now. And I just want to invite folks to take a moment. Just take a mindful moment for yourself. Maybe feel your feet on the floor. Take a breath. How's your body feel? It's a lot of words up here for dancers and performers. Just noting that. And if you're able, I invite you to touch the floor. For as long as you want, but just to feel the support of this floor underneath us. This floor that, was once trees, this floor that so much intention and care was put into building this floor. People in this room built this floor for this space, specifically so years of people could stand and be on this floor. And yeah, I just, the earth and this ground can hold us. So I invite you to offer whatever you need to this floor, this beautiful wooden floor. Yeah. I'm also having a moment right now where I don't know what to do. The ritual was too long for this 15 minutes. It's like not an unfamiliar feeling at Links, not knowing what to do. It's really something that I've become quite intimate with. So I'm actually going to ask the room. Do y'all feel like talking to each other for 10 minutes and sharing a Link story? I got one nod. How about a stretch moment? Let's take let's stretch. Let's take a 3-minute stretch and just feel into our bodies. Do whatever you need to do, and then we're gonna continue. Okay. Michelle. We're gonna bring it back. All right. And we continue. Yeah, I needed it, and I was like, it's probably, yeah, that's how I feel. Just disperse the energy a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to say some words. So first of all, I just want to shout out the staff, Mario Lamoth, Yao Trong, Aaliyah Christina, Dana Popovsky, and also Katie Collins, who is here now and was here for much of my tenure. All of these people worked at Lynx longer than I did, and I've learned so much from all of them. This was the hardest job I've ever had, that I still have, but actually I've never done something more difficult than this in a work realm. It was hard from day one, actually hour one. There's a story for another time behind that first hour at Lynx. But, it was a tough situation that I was walking into. There was so much urgency, and there was a focus on survival, right? It was an organization in crisis, and it was really hard not to take that crisis on at all times, and plus I just didn't really know what to do. There was no handbook. There was no previous other person who was like, hey, here's how you do the job, SK. Everyone was like, you're the one. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, the passwords on all my new admins were like, you got this. Or serenity, exclamation point. Yeah, it's every time I complained about something and the way it was, people would say, guess what? That's your job. You're in charge now. You can change it if you want. And I would be like, ah! But, there was just so much stress and urgency in it. I would tell people I was an executive director, and they'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. That's so lonely. There's such hard jobs. And so I think there's something in that. We need to change the structure of these nonprofit orgs. That was my experience as well. But what Lynx did teach me to practice was letting go. It was the only thing to do often for my sanity. Sometimes the thing to do is try harder, but I think capitalism has got us all conditioned to do that way too much. And actually, the more difficult thing is to let go. In the moments where I was most spinning out in stress, worried about how to pay people, what was going to happen, even when I thought it was everything would fall apart, I just had to let go. And I learned how to do that over and over again. And really letting go for me is not some, big action or a pushing away, a dismissal, whatever the associations are with it. It's more of an allowing, because the not letting go is a really holding on, contracted place to be. So it's going from a place of contraction to a place of release. And often there was grief that came with that, or something else. I actually think it's a liberatory act. It's kind of like this deep spiritual acceptance of what's happening. You don't have to like it, but it actually is what's happening, you know? And acceptance can lead to right action as well. If we're in denial of what's happening, we actually can't take right action, right? That's like the harder thing, is to acknowledge what's happening. You know, and I can remember times when I was like, oh, if we just get the grant, then I can let go and relax. If we just get that $100,000 gift, we'll be fine. And it's like, no, let go now, right now. And every time it was the right decision. Every time nothing fell apart and I was carried by the collective. Y'all should have seen some of my emails in those first months at Lynx Hall. I was unhinged, just trying to control everything. Didn't work. Gotta let go, right? And then somewhere along there, I just started to trust myself. Someone told me recently, a very powerful witch told me that to listen to my body, right? I can convince myself of anything. Other people can convince me of anything, but my body's never wrong. My body will tell me what's up. So, you know, I just started doing that. And the funny thing is, as things got worse and worse, it just became clearer and clearer what to do. Like, oh, ask for help. Oh, receive help. Oh, try to pare down as much as we could. Oh, make sure the art continues. Make sure artists are supportive, you know? It's like we spent all this time in fear of the worst possible thing happening, closing, ending, you know, death, dying. Like, that can never happen. And here we are, you know? We're in this moment. And we're also okay. And we're here together. You know, so a funder recently asked me, like, how did you know it was time to call it? You know, how did you know? So we can share with other people who are considering this. I know there's a lot of people considering this right now. And, you know, it's almost like as if we had that much control. You know, like I wish. It's like a river, you know, it's like a gradient, it's like a sunset. It's almost like no matter what we could do, maybe it was always already happening. Yeah, people have said it, you know, death is transformation. Of course, our bodies decompose and feed the soil with nutrients, fold back into the ecosystem. But also what comes with death is transformation. Anyone who's lost something knows that grief changes you, knows that being intimate with the unknown changes you. You know, and my invitation is to let this change you. There's all this talk about visions for the future right now. They're beautiful. Cultural Land Trust Performance Space for Chicago. Hello. You know? And also maybe it's already happening. Maybe the seeds are being planted with this day. Maybe they've already been planted. So my invitation for folks today is to just practice letting go. Doesn't necessarily mean the thing leaves right away, right? But at least it means we're here together. That's it. We've got our final four. Brian Saner's up next.
This past September 2024, Lynx assembled a community circle comprised of supporters, audience members, past and present performers, board members, and staff to envision a path to making sustainable theater. Aliyah Christiana, Aisha Nassim, Kat Mahari, Claire Sachs, Dana Popowski, Diana Quinones, Ginger Circa Pintig, Jenna Pollack, Joanna Fernans, Kiera Collins, Maggie Bridger, Paige Brown, Patrick Zakem, Eske Karastas, and myself. I wanted to say the names of these people that were part of that community circle, so if you see us here today or in the future, you can talk to us and we can continue the discussion of what we made and imagined. We met 4 times, once a month from October to January. We envisioned a worker-owned artisan co-op and a community land trust. The co-op would restructure the administrative staff and leadership to be distributive rather than centralized. The members would be co-owners of the theater. The community land trust would secure a stable brick and mortar space or a theater for the artists to own and to work in. This idea may not be a not-for-profit. We imagined building a system to care for ourselves. It would be a grassroots movement of survival and self-determination. It would be a resistance to bad capitalism. We imagined another way of making work and managing a theater that didn't only depend on money. It's a fantastic vision. But worker-owned co-ops have been in existence since the 1840s, and maybe earlier because they weren't even named that way. And community land trusts grew out of the civil rights movement in the 1960s. It's a vision with deep roots. And maybe it's how, or similar to how Links originally started. We were thinking about Links Hall specifically, but we didn't have time to make it happen for Links Hall. Or maybe Links had to die or end in order to make room for this new thing. Links Hall isn't the final manifestation of this vision, but it is one of the final productions of Links Hall, this vision. We believe this idea will work, and it's a lot of work. It is needed. There's a vacuum left from Links Hall closing its doors. We will keep moving and dancing and making theater. We will start something new. We will make it as small as possible, as hyper-local as possible. We will give it our own money and funds. We will give 10% of our income to artists we know personally. We will keep our money close to our theater and our communities. The collective experience that Links Hall produced and gave us over the 47 years is still in our bodies. This doesn't disappear. Let's hold tight to what we have learned. Something else is going to grow out of this, and it may be better than we think, and sooner.
Jason Howard. Yeah? Do you have it? We're just going to restart you that. Yeah. Do you need me to do something?